The sun was just rising over the rugged landscape, casting a warm glow on the sprawling military training camp. This wasn't just any camp. It was a legendary place where only the finest SEAL snipers came to hone their skills. Here, the air buzzed with determination and unwavering focus as men and women trained for their next big challenge. Tall trees sheltered the camp, and the sound of distant gunfire echoed through the valleys. On this particular day, the atmosphere was electric. The instructors had set up a daunting test, a 4,500-meter shot that would push even the best sharpshooters to their limits. To succeed at such a distance required not just skill, but also an understanding of complex factors like wind speed, temperature, and bullet drop. Each sniper demonstrated a mix of confidence and nervous energy as they prepared to take their shots. Among the snipers was an impressive lineup of seasoned veterans, each boasting their own accolades and stories of past triumphs. They were used to challenges, their eyes gleaming with competitive fire. However, there was also an underlying tension. This shot was notorious for its difficulty. Whispers of past failures echoed among them, intensifying the pressure every sniper felt as they mentally prepared for the task ahead. The camp buzzed with excitement and anxiety. While experienced hands loaded their rifles and checked their gear, they exchanged strategies and calculations. The goal was clear: conquer this challenge and solidify their place as elite marksmen in an already high-pressure environment. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting long shadows over the shooting range, an unexpected presence caught their attention. A quiet new girl named Mia had just arrived. She stood apart from the bustling crowd of snipers, observing everything with keen interest. Little did they know that she was about to shake up their world. As the snipers gathered around the shooting range, the excitement in the air grew palpable. The instructors explained the challenge they were about to face. Hitting a target placed an astounding 4,500 meters away. This was no ordinary shot. It was legendary for being one of the most difficult tests in sniper training. The distance alone was daunting, but factors like wind, humidity, and bullet drop added layers of complexity that could easily throw off even the most experienced marksmen. With their rifles cradled in their arms, the seasoned snipers exchanged glances filled with determination and hints of apprehension. They understood that this challenge demanded not just technical skill, but also a deep understanding of physics and strategy. Each sniper had his or her own method for preparing mentally and physically for such a critical shot. As they settled into their positions, the range fell silent except for the rustling leaves overhead. The instructors called out wind conditions and temperature readings, prompting each sniper to calculate how these factors would affect their shots. It was a tense moment. Each sniper focused intently on their breathing and posture, visualizing success as they prepared to take aim. One by one, they took their turns at the firing line. The first shooter stepped up confidently but missed wide left. A murmur rippled through the group as others took their shots, only to find themselves equally unsuccessful. Whispers of doubt began to circulate. Even those who usually excelled now felt the weight of failure pressing down on them. Mia watched quietly from the sidelines, absorbing every detail of her teammates' struggles. She noted their techniques and adjustments while banking her own ideas for tackling this overwhelming shot. It was clear that this test would reveal much more than just marksmanship. It would uncover hidden strengths and weaknesses among the snipers, and perhaps within herself as well. The tension in the training camp was thick as the snipers prepared for the biggest challenge of their careers. Among them were a group of elite marksmen, each with their own impressive track records. There was Jake, known for his calm demeanor and ability to hit targets even under extreme pressure. He had successfully completed missions in combat zones, earning respect from his peers. Then there was Sarah, a sharpshooter with an unmatched reputation for precision. She had won numerous competitions and often acted as a mentor to younger snipers. Next to her stood Marcus, whose friendly banter and easygoing nature masked an intense competitive spirit. He was known for his quick calculations and adaptability during difficult shots. Each sniper brought unique skills to the team, but as they faced the daunting 4,500-meter shot, frustration began to creep in. Jake adjusted his rifle, recalling the countless hours he had spent training for situations just like this. He remembered the victories and accolades, but felt the weight of expectation pressing heavily on him now. Sarah, typically confident, glanced nervously at the target, feeling the pressure of her past successes looming over her. Marcus tried to lighten the mood with jokes, but even he could sense the unease among his teammates. As the snipers took their turns, each missed shot seemed to amplify their frustration. They whispered among themselves about their past glories, trying to draw strength from their experiences. Yet, with every failure, doubts began to overshadow their confidence. "What's wrong with us?" one of them exclaimed, breaking the silence that had fallen over the group. Mia continued to observe from the sidelines, recognizing that while these snipers were undeniably talented, they were starting to crack under pressure. She could see their struggles mirrored in their body language. They were not just aiming at a target, but also battling their own expectations. Little did they know that Mia would soon offer a fresh perspective that could change everything. Just when the seasoned snipers had reached a low point in their attempts, Mia stepped forward. Unlike her peers, who seemed engulfed in pressure and doubt, she carried an air of quiet confidence. Her previous assignments were shrouded in mystery. Not many knew the details of her training or how she had come to join the elite team. Was she simply a natural talent, or did she have secrets that gave her an edge? Many snipers wondered, but few dared to ask. Mia had grown up in a small town where her father often took her shooting on weekends. She developed a keen eye and a strong understanding of long-distance shooting without formal training. After moving through unconventional paths, she found herself here, among the very best. Now, as all eyes turned toward her, Mia felt a sudden rush of excitement mixed with nerves. Feeling the weight of their gazes, Mia set down her gear with deliberate care. Instead of feeling intimidated by Jake, Sarah, and Marcus, she was inspired by them. They were legends in their own right. With every minute that passed, she became more determined to show them what she could do. As if sensing the collective hope resting upon her shoulders, Mia took a deep breath and approached the firing line. Her heart raced, not from fear, but from anticipation. "I can do this," she whispered to herself while recalling her past experiences. She focused on the target ahead and visualized hitting it perfectly. The other snipers watched intently as Mia prepared herself at the firing line. They exchanged confused glances, especially Marcus, who couldn't help but wonder how this quiet girl would fare against such an impossible challenge. Would she rise to the occasion or fall just like they had? Whatever happened next would be pivotal, not just for Mia, but for all of them as they confronted their own fears and struggles on this path to greatness. As Mia took her place at the firing line, the seasoned snipers exchanged skeptical glances. Despite her quiet confidence, many of them couldn't shake the feeling that she was unproven and inexperienced. "What does she know about long-distance shooting?" Jake muttered to himself. eyeing her with a mix of curiosity and doubt. To him, she appeared more like a rookie than an elite sniper. Sarah leaned closer to Marcus, whispering, "I mean, come on, this is a 4,500-meter shot. We've all trained for years. Can she really handle this?" The two veterans shared an understanding look. They were both impressed by Mia's presence, but questioned whether she could match their skill levels. Meanwhile, Mia was oblivious to their doubts as she focused on the target ahead. She mentally prepared herself, recalling her childhood experiences and how they had shaped her abilities. However, even within her own mind, seeds of doubt began to sprout. What if I fail? What if they laugh at me? These thoughts flickered through her brain as she steadied her aim. As the other snipers struggled and missed their shots, their frustrations only deepened. They whispered among themselves about how this newcomer couldn't possibly succeed where they had faltered. "She's just a girl," Marcus said with a half-smile, trying to lighten the mood, though a hint of unease lingered in his voice. Yet amidst their skepticism, there was a part of him that hoped she would prove them wrong. It was clear that the snipers were not only battling against the distance, but against their own prejudices as well. Each failure chipped away at their confidence, leaving them increasingly anxious about what was to come. Mia sensed the tension, but remained focused on what truly mattered: the target in front of her. She drew in a deep breath and silenced the doubts swirling in her mind. Today was her chance to show them that size and experience weren't everything in this game of precision shooting. The atmosphere around the shooting range was tense as the snipers prepared for another round of practice. With the sun now high in the sky, its rays cast a harsh light on their faces, amplifying the pressure they felt to succeed. Jake adjusted his rifle once more, his brow furrowed in concentration. "We've got to nail this," he said to Sarah, who was setting up a new target further downrange. As they took turns firing, each shot echoed through the air, followed by a series of frustrated groans and exclamations. Despite their rigorous training and experience, the elusive target remained frustratingly out of reach. The distance loomed larger than life, and every missed shot chipped away at their confidence. "I swear this is impossible!" Marcus exclaimed after another miss, throwing his hands up in exasperation. Despite the mounting pressure and shared frustrations, there was a sense of camaraderie among them. They huddled together between shots, sharing tips and techniques while trying to lift each other's spirits. "Remember that time we were in training at Camp Pendleton?" Jake recalled with a smirk. "You ended up in that mud pit trying to show off." Laughter followed as memories of past mishaps reminded them that they were all in this together. Mia watched from her spot at the sidelines, absorbing both their frustrations and their camaraderie. She admired how even amidst defeat, they found ways to support one another. Inspired by their determination, she began to mentally rehearse her own approach for when it would be her turn again. As the day wore on, tension gave way to exhaustion. Still, none of the seasoned snipers could find their rhythm. With each failure came whispers of doubt creeping back into their minds. Could any of them truly conquer this challenge? Mia knew that if she was going to show them what she was capable of, she needed not just skill, but also the courage to push past their expectations and embrace her own potential. Mia stood quietly at the edge of the shooting range, taking in everything around her. The snipers moved with a mix of urgency and frustration as they attempted the challenging shot, and she made a mental note of their techniques and mistakes. With each turn at the firing line, she observed how they positioned themselves, adjusted their breathing, and calculated the factors affecting their shots. Jake's stance was sturdy but sometimes rigid, causing him to overthink his aim. Sarah had an incredible eye for details, but occasionally let her emotions get the best of her, which affected her focus. Marcus used humor to distract himself from the pressure, but often lost track of his technique when he laughed too much. All these observations filled Mia's mind. She could see both strengths and weaknesses in each sniper as they tackled the difficult shot. The sun beat down on them, creating mirages on the horizon that seemed to dance with every missed shot. Mia took a few steps closer to catch subtle cues, the way Jake would furrow his brow when things didn't go as planned, or how Sarah bit her lip in concentration. Each moment was a lesson. She knew she might not have their experience or accolades, but she could learn from their struggles. As she watched them interact between shots, exchanging tips while trying to boost each other's spirits, Mia noted how camaraderie played a critical role in managing their frustrations. It struck her that while they were all skilled, it was equally important to maintain a positive mindset. With this knowledge, Mia began to formulate her own approach. She thought deeply about what worked for her during practice sessions back home. Staying calm, visualizing success before pulling the trigger, and trusting her instincts without overthinking every movement. This would be her strategy when it was finally time for her turn at the firing line, a blend of tactical awareness from observing others and faith in herself drawn from past experiences. Little did she know how vital this preparation would soon become. When it was finally time for the seasoned snipers to take their turns, the tension in the air was palpable. Jake stepped up first, his heart pounding as he aimed at the distant target. He recalled all the calculations, but misjudged the wind speed and missed the shot by several feet to the right. Frustration washed over him, but he quickly took a deep breath and stepped aside, trying to shake off the disappointment. Next was Sarah, who adjusted her stance and focused intently on the target. She had a knack for precision, but the pressure seemed to cloud her judgment today. As she squeezed the trigger, her shot flew high over the mark, leaving her gasping in disbelief. "What's happening to me?" she muttered under her breath, feeling overwhelmed. Marcus, always up for a challenge, stepped forward with a smile. "I've got this," he called out, trying to maintain his usual upbeat demeanor. But as he fired, he faltered in his timing, and his bullet hit far left. "Ugh! Come on!" he exclaimed, slapping his thigh in frustration. With each sniper's attempt, the atmosphere grew heavier. They were all experienced marksmen. Yet something about this particular challenge felt insurmountable. As they took turns firing, each missed shot echoed like thunder, an audible reminder of their collective struggles. Mia watched closely as they faced these setbacks. She noticed how each sniper reacted differently to failure. Some became more determined, while others spiraled into self-doubt. It was clear that external factors like wind gusts and temperature were part of the problem, but their mental states were equally disruptive. As the day wore on, Mia could see their spirits waning. The camaraderie they had shared earlier began to crack slightly under the weight of disappointment. "It's just a shot," Jake said to himself, trying to rally some positivity, but it was difficult to ignore the growing feeling of inadequacy among them. Yet Mia remained focused on her preparation. She knew that each failure was another opportunity to learn. While the others struggled, she silently resolved to harness their challenges and make them her own strength when her turn finally came. As the afternoon wore on, the frustration among the snipers reached its peak. With multiple attempts under their belts and each one failing to hit the target, a feeling of hopelessness began to spread through the group. They exchanged weary glances, feeling the weight of their expectations and the oppressive heat of the sun. "Maybe we should just let the new girl give it a shot," Marcus suggested, trying to lighten the mood, but also genuinely curious about Mia's potential. A chuckle followed his remark, but there was an undertone of seriousness that caught everyone's attention. "Who knows? Our little princess might surprise us." The group laughed, but beneath their humor lay a spark of intrigue. Could Mia, who had remained silent and observant, actually succeed where they had faltered? Jake shrugged and said, "Why not? We've got nothing to lose at this point." Sarah looked over at Mia, who still stood quietly at the sidelines, and nodded in encouragement. "What do you say, Mia? Think you can handle it?" Mia felt her heart race at the sudden attention, but she remembered her training and the observations she had made throughout the day. "Sure, I'll give it a try," she replied with a calmness that surprised even herself. As she stepped forward, something shifted in the air. The skepticism that initially surrounded her began to transform into cautious hope. The snipers watched intently as Mia approached the firing line, their earlier laughter fading into quiet anticipation. Mia took a deep breath, grounding herself in the mental preparations she had been rehearsing. She focused on the target ahead, visualizing every detail as her peers looked on with a mix of skepticism and curiosity. This was her moment to demonstrate that even a newcomer could rise to the occasion when given the chance. With every eye on her, Mia aimed carefully, fully, aware that this attempt meant more than just hitting a target. It was about proving her worth to herself and those around her, those who had doubted her simply because she was different. The moment felt electric as she prepared to pull the trigger, ready to take on the challenge that had stumped even the best of them. As Mia stepped to the firing line, a hush fell over the shooting range. The sun glared down, making the moment feel even more intense. But she remained focused and calm. She could feel the weight of her teammates' gaze upon her as they hoped this newcomer might finally break their streak of failures. Quiet nods of encouragement from Sarah and Marcus fueled her determination. Mia took a deep breath, recalling all the observations she had made throughout the day, from the way Jake adjusted his stance to how Sarah dealt with her mounting pressure. The lessons learned were fresh in her mind. She knew that while distance posed a physical challenge, it was her mental state that would truly make the difference. With steady hands, she set her rifle into position and peered through the scope. The target appeared far away, almost surreal against the backdrop of shimmering heat waves rising from the ground. She concentrated on relaxing her muscles, remembering how breathing techniques had helped in past practices. "Just like back home," she whispered to herself. "Mia, you've got this!" Marcus called out, offering a friendly smile. The simple affirmation sent a wave of warmth through her. It solidified her resolve to show them what she could do. Tuning out distractions and focusing solely on the target before her, Mia mentally visualized each key variable. Wind speed, bullet drop, all covered in details she'd absorbed over hours of observation. As she prepared to pull the trigger, there was an electric moment where time seemed to stand still. In that instant, Mia felt both vulnerable and empowered, the perfect blend of emotion needed for success. With each heartbeat echoing in her ears like a drum roll announcing something monumental about to happen, she squeezed the trigger with precision. She didn't know whether she would hit or miss, but at that moment, Mia realized something important. No matter the outcome, this was not just about proving herself to others. It was about claiming her place in this world where she could finally stand tall among these skilled marksmen. Whatever happened next was up to fate and skill combined, and in that realization lay true strength. As Mia steadied her gaze on the target, she focused on her breathing, which became rhythmic and deep, a technique she had practiced during her earlier training sessions. Years of experience taught her that controlling her breath helped calm the nerves and sharpen her concentration. She inhaled slowly, allowing the air to fill her lungs, and exhaled deliberately, releasing the remnants of tension that had built up. Visualization played a key role in her preparation too. In her mind's eye, she pictured each step she would take, aligning her rifle, adjusting for the wind's direction, and finally squeezing the trigger with precision. She imagined the bullet flying smoothly through the air, hitting its mark exactly where she intended. This practice not only steadied her hands, but also mentally prepared her for the challenge. In this moment of focus, Mia felt a sense of clarity that separated her from the other snipers. While they were still grappling with their doubts and frustrations from previous attempts, she was drawing confidence from her past and all that she had learned. The chaos of their earlier struggles faded into the background as she became completely immersed in her own approach. She glanced briefly at her teammates who stood behind her, their faces reflecting a mixture of hope and skepticism. Their expectations weighed on her like a heavy cloak, but instead of feeling burdened by them, she saw it as an opportunity to showcase what she was capable of. "This is my chance," she thought resolutely. With one last deep breath, Mia brought herself back to the present and centered her thoughts entirely on the target ahead. As she lowered herself into position and prepared to pull the trigger, she felt energized by her unique preparation methods. They set her apart as more than just a newcomer. They positioned her as someone who was ready to challenge the odds stacked against them. Each heartbeat echoed loudly in her ears as she aligned herself with newfound determination. This wasn't just another shot. It was a statement about who she was and what she could achieve against all expectations. With calm resolve, Mia took aim and squeezed the trigger, a testament to all the hard work that had brought her to this moment. As Mia settled into her stance, silence blanketed the training field, creating an almost electric atmosphere. The once bustling range fell still as her teammates and the instructors held their breath, their eyes fixed on the newcomer who had quietly stepped into the spotlight. This was the moment everyone had been waiting for. She was about to take her shot at a distance that had stumped even the most experienced snipers. Mia's heart raced, but she channeled that energy into focus. The world around her faded away as she concentrated solely on the target in the distance. Each breath was steady now. Each heartbeat felt like a reminder of how important this moment was, not just for her, but for everyone who had doubted her potential. She glanced briefly at Jake, Sarah, and Marcus, who stood with expressions full of hope mixed with uncertainty. "If I miss this," she thought, "it's okay. I've already come this far." But deep down, there was a burning desire within her to succeed where they had faltered. She would not just be proving herself. She hoped to inspire them to see beyond their initial judgments. With precise movements, Mia adjusted her rifle, recalling everything she had learned, how to gauge the wind and how to set her sights accurately. Every detail mattered now that she was in this critical moment. Slowly exhaling, she steadied her hand and aligned her eye with the scope. As she focused on the reticle, it flickered slightly in the heat waves, but Mia remained unfazed. Just as she visualized earlier, she pictured the bullet slicing through the air and finding its mark at long last. Carefully squeezing the trigger became a natural extension of her will rather than an act of force. Time stretched out around her as though the entire world waited in suspense, all eyes locked on this one new girl tasked with breaking their defeat. In that heartbeat between intention and release, Mia understood that belief in herself could transcend anyone's doubts, a significant realization that fueled her determination. At last, with calm clarity and unwavering conviction, she pulled the trigger, ready to make this moment truly hers. As Mia squeezed the trigger, a moment of pure tension hung in the air. The shot rang out, crisp and clean, and in that instant, time seemed to slow. The bullet traveled through the air, cutting through the silence with purpose. A collective gasp arose from her teammates and instructors as they followed its path toward the distant target. Then, the sound of impact echoed across the range, a solid thud as the bullet hit its mark perfectly in the center. For a heartbeat, there was disbelief. Mia's eyes widened as she processed what had just happened. The impact left a distinct mark on the target that spoke louder than any words could. The snipers stared in shock, their jaws dropping in unison at the unexpected success of their quiet newcomer. For so long, they had struggled against their doubts and frustrations, but here was Mia standing cool and composed amidst their chaos, having achieved what they could not. Jake blinked in disbelief, while Sarah's expression shifted from skepticism to admiration. Even Marcus, ever the jokester, stood momentarily speechless. A wave of exhilaration rushed through Mia as she lowered her rifle and stepped back from the firing line. The muffled sounds of excitement began to bubble up among her teammates as they exchanged glances filled with awe and wonder. Slowly but surely, applause began to build among them, a mixture of claps and cheers as they recognized her remarkable achievement. In that moment, Mia didn't just feel accomplished. She felt accepted. The weight that had once rested on her shoulders began to lift as her teammates rallied around her, eager to celebrate not just her success, but also what it represented for all of them. A break from their collective failures, and a reminder that talent can emerge from anywhere. Mia realized she had transformed their perspective, not only proving herself, but inspiring a renewed belief within each sniper present. This was no longer just about hitting a target. It was about embracing challenges and rising together. As cheers erupted around her, she smiled widely, knowing this experience would forever be etched in her memory as a turning point, not only for herself, but for her team. As the applause began to fade, Mia stood at the firing line, a mix of emotions flooding through her. She felt a swell of pride, not just for herself, but for the respect she had suddenly earned from her teammates. Jake, Sarah, and Marcus approached her, their faces illuminated with admiration rather than skepticism. "Wow, Mia, that was incredible," Jake said, his earlier doubts completely erased. "You nailed it." He extended a hand to her, and she shook it with a smile, feeling the warmth of acceptance wash over her. "Where did you learn to shoot like that?" Sarah asked, genuine curiosity sparkling in her eyes. "I mean, we've all trained for years, and you just stepped in and did what we couldn't." Mia shrugged modestly. "I just focused on what I learned from watching you all, and I believed I could do it." Marcus chimed in, still visibly impressed. "You really showed us that skill can come from anywhere," he said. "I think we all learned something valuable today." Their words resonated deeply within Mia. She realized that this moment had transformed not only her standing in the group, but also their perceptions of one another. They had all arrived at the training camp with their own experiences and backgrounds, carrying both strengths and weaknesses shaped by those journeys. The snipers gathered around Mia, their camaraderie rekindled. They shared stories of their own struggles with the challenging shot and exchanged laughs over moments of failure that once felt disheartening. Mia felt an overwhelming sense of belonging as they opened up to her, recognizing that everyone had their own battles to face. In this moment of reflection, respect grew among them. The barriers created by doubts and judgments began to crumble. They understood now that talent wasn't confined to experience or background. It could emerge unexpectedly from anyone willing to take a chance. Mia smiled as she absorbed the newfound respect from her peers. This experience had not only proven her capabilities, but also reminded everyone that true strength lies in embracing challenges together and supporting one another through adversity. It was a lesson neither she nor the seasoned snipers would soon forget. In the days that followed Mia's remarkable shot, the atmosphere among the snipers shifted dramatically. A newfound camaraderie blossomed as they embraced the lessons learned from both their struggles and her unexpected triumph. They shared more than just strategies for shooting. They exchanged stories about their backgrounds, openly discussing their fears and aspirations, which had long been kept hidden beneath their tough exteriors. Mia found herself increasingly integrated into the group, participating in both training sessions and casual conversations. Her presence stimulated a unique dynamic among the seasoned veterans, who began to appreciate the notion that skills are not solely a product of experience, but can also flourish from fresh perspectives and determination. Each day, the snipers put in rigorous practice, and Mia continued to surprise them with her ability to adapt quickly. She worked hard to improve, often honing her shooting techniques alongside them. In turn, Jake, Sarah, and Marcus started to recognize that what once separated them, experience and years of training, was no longer a barrier but an opportunity for mutual growth. They eagerly sought her input and perspective, understanding that everyone had something valuable to contribute. Mia's success served as a powerful reminder that talents can often be hidden behind perceived limitations like age or background. Over time, they all became advocates for one another, championing each other's strengths and lifting each other during moments of doubt. The team's spirit grew stronger as they celebrated both individual achievements and collaborative victories. Ultimately, Mia transformed not just her own standing among the snipers, but reshaped the very essence of their squad. The respect she earned shattered preconceived notions about what it meant to be a skilled marksman. As they gathered together for training each day, they now viewed each other through a lens of encouragement and support. In this shared journey of empowerment, Mia's journey revealed that greatness could emerge from anywhere, inspiring all to believe in themselves regardless of appearances or prior judgments. It was a lesson that would resonate far beyond the shooting range, leaving a lasting impact on every member of the team, the mark of true friendship built on respect and understanding.